there guys, and welcome to Mad Doc Minis. So I've got another glorious little parcel all the way from the Ukraine and from Tortuga Game Stable. I recently requested some Terminators from them, so I approached them on this one and asked for some Terminator bodies so I could do a proper comparison with the Leviathan Terminators, because I've had a lot of requests on the channel to do that. So I got the heavy M4 Armour bodies that I was after here, but they sent me a host of other things in there as well to have a look at, which I'm really appreciative of. I didn't ask for them, I didn't expect them, and I just want to thank them sincerely for trusting, you know, a small channel like me to do reviews and comparisons on their miniatures. I really appreciate it, so thank you very much, Tortuga. Yeah, I will go through that in a little bit more detail now. So these are the heavy M4 armor bodies from the Darc 40 Galaxy Legions range, but I also in the parcel received a lot of other kind of bits and pieces which basically make up a complete squad of Mark III Space Marines, or or the equivalent from Tortuga, so the kind of M3 armor in their range. So yeah, these are the things I requested. These are the things that the video is going to be about, the Terminator bodies. But I just wanted to quickly show you that I got these M3 Marines as well. So they're multi-part, so legs and torso separate. I've got the heads to go with them there, and a load of stowage and pouches as well. And most excitingly as well, I got the lovely siege shields to go with them. So I'm really looking forward to putting them together. They will definitely get their own video because they deserve it. So you'll stay tuned for that, guys. This video is going to be about the Terminators. Additionally, I also got this miniature here, which is from their Ukrainian Space Army range. So just stay tuned, because I'm obviously going to do proper justice to these miniatures as well. In the meantime, let's have a look at what we get in the heavy M4 armor kit. So it's basically legs and torso, guys. The idea being that you would apply heads and arms from other kits, probably most likely being Games Workshop kits, to complete the set. So do bear that in mind. It's not a complete multi-part kit. It's just enough to upscale the existing stuff. Now, I can already tell, just throwing them out of the the box here, that they are a lot bigger than the previous generation of Terminators. The big question is how do they measure up against the Leviathan Terminators? But you can see here, look, we've got 5 little tilt shields. I don't end up using those, so they go to one side in my bits box. 5 pairs of legs and 5 torsos. The torsos come in 2 parts. You get the main bulk of the torso, which is the kind of the back piece, the posterior part, and then you get like a chest plate to go over the top, and that's all detailed. The head socket and underneath the chest plate is all beautifully detailed. So there's scope to kind of convert these and do wonderful things with them if you want to. But with the chest plates, I actually got 8. So I've got 5 miniatures in total, but 8 chest plates, and there's just a different range of designs on there. I think the idea is to give you a little bit of choice into how you want to kind of make them and present them, really. And some beautiful design, lovely crisp details. As ever, as we've come to expect from Tortuga, it's really high quality stuff. I just can't find anything to complain about, guys, and that is the genuine truth. They are really, really good. The only tidying up that I needed to do was on the bottom of the feet so they could stick to the bases better, but I'd expect that, and that's where they kind of release obviously from the molds and things and the process of making them. So really high quality. After I've tidied up the feet by shaving them the bottom off with a sharp knife, I just glue them with super glue onto the bases. Remember, you need to use super glue with resins, guys, otherwise they just won't stick. It's not plastic. You can't use plastic cement. The chest plates go on really, really well. No tidying up at all. They fit on there perfectly. It's really good. It's like building a plastic kit. It's amazing. These arms here in this version, this is really old stuff, and I wanted to show you what the previous generation of arms look like on these. I think this is really what they're intended for. And these arms are, I think, from the Assault on Black Reach box. I could be wrong, but they're all in one piece. But they do give you the idea of the scale and the size. So I wanted to give you a comparison there. This is one made with the older arms. The other Marines, the other Terminators, are made using the Leviathan arms, and I did this because I had some left over. I've recently done some Deathwing conversions on the channel. Go check that out if you're interested. And I used the arms from the Deathwing kit. kit. That meant I had some leftover Leviathan arms, so I wanted to see how they work and how they go on these miniatures. So I put all the other ones together, legs and torsos, and then experiment and put the Leviathan arms on. Now, I don't think this is a bad thing to show you, because I think a lot of you guys are going to want to do kit bashes with the Leviathan Marines and like Blood Angels and Dark Angels kits. So you might well have some of these Leviathan arms hanging around afterwards, and I just wanted to show you that you can use them really nicely on these Tortuga Bay miniatures if you want to. Now, you may need to do some tidying up, because remember, the Leviathan Terminators are monopose miniatures, so the arms, you know, may come out a little bit funky when you kind of attach them on. As it happens, it wasn't too bad. I had to make a couple of small kind of cuts on the side of the torso to make some of them work. I didn't take too much time over it. I didn't really put too much effort into pairing the arms the way they're supposed to be. I just played around with it, really, guys. And Sergeant, I used the more ornate parts for the Sergeant, and I do put the pauldrons quite a long way up as well, so you'll notice the top of the pauldron is more or less in line with the rest of the carapace, and that's just the look I like. And interestingly, when I used the smaller arms from the previous generation, doing it that way wasn't really possible without making them look weird, and I'll try and draw some attention to that in a minute so you can have a proper look. You can see here I'm just attaching the power sword, a little bit of attention on posing, but as best as I could, really. The heads were just the Leviathan heads. They went in there absolutely fine, no problems, no shaving down required. The head socket's plenty big enough to accommodate the normal helmet. And you can see I'm just showing you how high up they go, so just kind of try and link them in with those nice kind of tabs on the side of the miniature, so everything looks, you know, good and as it should do. So here's the older arm. Now you'll notice the top of the pauldrons sit below the top of the carapace. It's not a major problem, but it is different, and it does produce a different aesthetic. Now, if you compare with the Leviathan Terminators, you can see that the pauldrons come up to the top part. Now, if you try and move the older arms right to the top of the carapace, it just doesn't quite look right in my view. It looks like his arms are coming out of his ears, you know what I mean? And you can see here at the side the different size and scale of the Leviathan Terminator on the right here. And it's just bigger pauldrons, a bulkier miniature. But I think these Tortuga miniatures really carry those arms perfectly fine. So the bigger arms go on there. The smaller arms work. They're probably intended for the smaller arms anyway, but I prefer the bigger ones from the Leviathan kit myself. So I just wanted to show you the differences, guys, but I am going to prime them and put them on a rotating platform so you can get a better look next. Firstly, and most importantly, we're going to do a direct comparison between the Tortuga Bay Terminator and the Leviathan Terminator. The giveaway for the Tortuga Bay Terminator is the squared off knee pads, just in case you're getting a little bit confused, which you could be well forgiven for, because these two really are quite similar, and that is a very good thing. The level of detail on these Tortuga miniatures and the way they went together is just really superb, bearing in mind it's not a plastic kit, so I really can't say anything bad about it, and I mean that genuinely. They are superb miniatures. Depending on where you are in the world, they may be a little bit difficult to get hold of, and postage and things like that, but there's no downside to the miniatures themselves. They are superb. I want to do a direct comparison as well between the use of the older versus the newer arms. The older arms here, you can tell by the tilt shield versus the newer arms without. And as you can see here, both look fine. The older arms do need to be set down slightly from the carapace to make them look proper, I think, but it's all a matter of preference. I do prefer the look of the Leviathan arms overall, though. I think they just carry the scale much nicer, even though I think the kit is intended to be used with the older arms. They sort of fit a bit easier on there, but I think the Leviathan arms do look better. So we have a Legacy Terminator for comparison here. As you'd expect, a very big increase in size, especially head height. No surprises there, because of course these are essentially the same size as the Leviathans. You'd expect that. So Legacy guys getting dwarfed, as is the Cataphractii Terminator here. I mean, not quite so much, because we've got that bulk up top in the carapace to help carry him through a little bit there. But still, if you look at head height, that's the giveaway. And yeah, really quite small in comparison. And unfortunately, that's also true of the Tartaros suit, which incidentally is my favourite Terminator suit, but really quite small in comparison. And we haven't got that nice bulk up top to help kind of you know, compensate for that. So yeah, it's looking pretty small, but you could kind of mount those up on a higher base, which is indeed I have done in other videos. Go and check that out in case you're interested. Here on the Tartaros theme, we have the Thousand Suns Terminator. The head crest, I think, helps a lot with that to make it look more imposing than it actually is. So perhaps not quite so dwarfed as the regular Tartaros suit there. With the Chaos theme, we're going to move on to the newer rendition of the Chaos Terminator. Quite misleading this because he's striding forward, so he's going to look a little bit shorter, but the kind of trophies and the skulls on his back really do help make him look really quite imposing. Fantastic kit as well. So this one compares pretty well, I think. Next up is the the Nurgle Terminator, which is immense. So this one actually looks like he could probably bully the Terminator actually into submission. So yeah, very good comparison there. Size-wise, it's just superb. Very, very close. And now a comparison between the Red Butcher's proxy, also from Tortuga. I just wanted to do a direct comparison so you could see them next to each other, guys. Very, very similar. Very slightly decreased head height on the Red Butcher proxy, but other than that, they work very, very well together, as you'd expect. Moving on to Primaris miniatures now, we have an Aggressor here, which is or was, I should say, the Terminator equivalent in the Primaris armies. No longer looking like a big bully next to the Terminator suit. Really good comparison, and they compare quite well. And now we have an Intercessor following that same theme. Look at the head height. Interestingly, not too much difference. So, and that's actually the same for the Leviathans as well. They're the same size, so they haven't gone crazy with upscaling on the Terminators, which I think is fine. It kind of works well, and it's always easy to rectify by just building them up on the base. So yeah, here we have a Mark 6, a Beaky, which is that funny in-betweeny size. I think these compare quite well because it's nice to have that. It is actually nice to have that increased height of the Terminator over the rank and file. So yeah, they work superbly together. The Mark 3s, yeah, that's pushing it slightly for me. That just looks a little bit too squat and dumpy next to it. But you know, it's there for you to look at and judge for yourself. Let me know what you guys think. I'm always interested to hear your opinions as well. Moving on, let's now compare against a regular human, a Cadian, a new Cadian, which is even more dainty, and he looks like a little child in comparison, which is about right. That's exactly correct for a Terminator suit. You'd expect it to be kind of like, you know, a huge and monstrous over a regular human, really. So next up is the whole squad next to each other. I probably will change out the older arms on that one Terminator just so I can get uniformity across the squad. But either work quite well. So they both work quite well. Thanks ever so much for joining me on this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it and that it was useful in some way. If you have, please consider liking and sharing. It really does help this channel to grow. And if you're not already subscribed, consider giving me a sub. Thanks ever so much. And until the next time, take care. Cheers.